You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 53 of the Tumbling Saber Podcast. Man, oh man, by the time you hear this, there is going to be 10 days left until Rogue One. I am stoked. I know you're stoked. I know these guys are stoked. Let's introduce them. Corey, how you doing, man?
What is going on, Kyle? I am definitely stoked. Stoked is the word.
This podcast is brought to you by the word stoked. And James, how you doing, my friend?
Feeling pretty stoked, guys. Pretty stoked.
There you go. Doubling down, tripling down on the word stoked this week. For sure. But James, I think you and I are feeling our age today. As we each threw parties for our little girls who are celebrating birthdays. How you feeling?
That was like a zoo yesterday at my house. I had like 15 kids running around in princess dresses. That was the theme of the 5-year-old's party. And yeah, I'm sure very similar to your place. I really wasn't sure if the walls and the roof were going to hold these kids in.
I can echo these sentiments. You and I were, actually the three of us were messaging one another, even though Corey was like standing here next to me, which was kind of silly. But yeah, like kids are anarchists, man. Like, were you at least able to herd all those cats into one area of the house, or do they sort of split up into 2 or 3 different areas?
I had 2 that were like on a mission to be where I didn't want them. Like we tried to keep the kids in the basement because I got a 5-month-old baby, so like we tried to keep him separate from all the germy, sick, snotty kids, you know. But these 2 girls kept like just singing this really loud song and holding hands and skipping through the house like into every room. And I told them like 100 times, I'm like, go back downstairs. At one point, they're like, we don't want to. I was like, I'm not giving you a choice. Just go back downstairs.
I don't care what you want. Go downstairs, or I throw you out.
Yeah, but no, it was super fun. They all had a really good time. But yeah, herding them in one place at one time didn't happen on purpose. It may be like horizontal décollage, like they accidentally ended up in the same room at the same time. But that was just via ebb and flow of the party.
Yeah, so I missed the first 45 minutes of our party. My wife had sent me out. There's 2 girls here who have celiac disease. They're not they're not these people who now suddenly have gluten intolerance because it's trendy. They actually have celiac disease. So I had to go shooting out on a long drive to get gluten-free cupcakes. I bring them back, and come dessert time, they're like, nah, I don't want cupcakes. Say what now? Like, no, we don't want them. They changed their mind after a few minutes, but I was like, you got to be kidding me. Is this a joke?
You're going to eat those cupcakes, and you're going to like those cupcakes.
And these are like the little tiny child-sized cupcakes, and I got a dozen of them for like $15. They're not cheap. It was ridiculous.
No,
and factor in the gas and my time. These cupcakes probably cost $25-$30 for me to get my hands on. Nah, I don't want them. Oh, hold still, kid. You're gonna eat them.
Yeah, the best part was I show up there with my little guy. Kyle's not there. I'm just like, I go downstairs and it was just like a bunch of bloody savages, man. I stood there for like a good 10-15 minutes, just with my arms folded, just waiting to spread it and spring it to like Jedi-like action before someone smashed their head into a table or something. I was like, wow. And they just, it's true though, that they just don't listen, man. There was a few kids, I was like, hey buddy, like, you want to calm down? Like, just like, no! Like, I was like, wow.
Well, yeah, there's actually, so it was girls, so primarily girls at this party, but there were 2 boys. No, 3 including Corey's boy. And this one kid was an absolute animal. and you could tell he was a little bit stuffed up, had a little bit of a cold, and he sneezed at one point, and the way he had his hand tucked under his nose, it channeled out this snot rocket that shot out about 3 inches across his cheek. I was like, oh, oh, you little beast. So I just grabbed a handful of Kleenex. I'm like, Ethan, take these. You're a mess. And he's like, oh, thanks.
Kids are gross, dude.
And I see him sneezing into my couch. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to just burn this house down. Never mind Lysol. But anyway, we survived. It was a long day, but one of those days you look back on and you smile because all the kids had fun, and hopefully they'll remember it. And if they don't remember it, I'll be here to remind them.
Yeah, we took pictures, so we can prove it to them when they're older and resent us. Look what we used to do for you, you little brats.
Oh, sorry. Before we get into Star Wars, here's something else Candace and I did. We actually, my wife went through the effort of printing out at work 32 colored circles, and we were going to on label stock, and we applied them to the floor in our basement. So we had to we spent our Friday night after the kids were in bed cutting out these circles, these adhesive circles of different colors, and putting them down on our tile floor in the basement. We were going to play a big game of Twister with these kids. They didn't play a second of it. And now these damn things don't come off the floor.
That's quite the look. Maybe you're starting a new trend.
So we have this giant adhesive stuck down Twister board on our basement floor that my wife spent a good hour last night chiseling, I think 4 or 5 of these labels off.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's ruined now.
Well, I told her on Friday, I'm like, these aren't going to come off easily. Yeah, they will. Anywho, guys, there's right now there's 11 days until Rogue One, but by the time this podcast is given life out into the universe, there'll be 10 days left until Rogue One. I'm a little bit beside myself, but your mileage may vary. Are you guys feeling any different than you were last week? Is it getting? Are you getting more excited as we get closer, or is it just not quite close enough yet?
I can't breathe. No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm definitely super pumped about this, man.
I second that. I wouldn't say I'm more excited than I was when we got the tickets. I've been really excited since we got the tickets. Every time I think about it, I get that Christmas butterfly in your stomach feeling.
Absolutely. Yeah. So speaking of Friday, I think we saw all this live Rogue One Q&A stuff this past Friday. And did you guys take in any of that, whether it was on the Facebook live feed or the Facebook live feed?
Negative.
Yeah, I didn't.
I saw a bit on Twitter. I think it was. No, was it Twitter? I saw a bit of it anyhow, but I didn't really have time for it.
I didn't watch the Facebook one, but I did listen to the Twitter one at work, and the audio was awful. I don't know who put this together, but geez. It's like somebody used the wrong input on their mic or something like that. It's who does that? But anyway, not much to take away out of this aside from. Wait, is it now? Just the joke just landed now?
It did. I was distracted. I was doodling something. I'm making notes on Mark's question about predictions, and then in the back of my mind, I heard what you said, and it registered. It registered that much
all
later.
Right. So the first thing that jumped out to me about this Q&A was that there was no Jiang Wen, who plays Baze Malbus, and no Mads Mikkelsen, and no Forrest Whitaker. But 2 of those guys, I have to imagine, weren't there by coincidence. Given the way they've been very loose-lipped about spoilers and such over the last few months, I have to imagine these 2 guys were just asked or not invited at all.
Not invited. Those guys were locked up somewhere.
No, they got sent to the wrong studio to do it. Like, yeah, meet us here at this time.
Given the wrong directions in another country.
It's funny
Left
though.
at Albuquerque.
It's funny that you say that though, Kyle, because like I said, I wasn't really a I didn't really have the audio on, but I had it on the corner of the screen there for a bit. And it's the first thing I saw. I'm like, wait a minute. No Baze, no Galen.
Yeah, and I mean, Forrest Whitaker wasn't there either, which I guess maybe blows out that theory. But I imagine that Forrest Whitaker is just one of those guys who's like, nah, I'm not going to go. I feel like he can get away with it a lot easier than the other two.
Yeah,
I think he's probably like one of the more active in terms of like employment too. He's probably like maybe he's just under contract doing something else.
Yeah, I don't know how far in advance this was planned out. I imagine it probably had plenty of runway to get things lined up, but yeah, maybe he's just like, no, sorry guys, I can't make it work that day, or he was just like, no.
I want a purple lightsaber. I'm bigger than Star Wars.
Yeah, I didn't get too much out of this. I don't think they offered up very much in terms of insight into the movie. Although they did sort of make it clear that as a cast ensemble, they don't know a whole lot about the Star Wars movies as a whole. I think that much was pretty clear. I kept looking at Twitter, and people were like, "Oh my god, these people don't know anything about the franchise they're a part of," which is both at the same time sad yet not surprising. They're not, they may be fans of the movies, but they're not probably super fans like us who live and die on the details. So I wasn't that too surprised. Like, I think the prime example was when Alan Tudyk made reference to the fact that Ahmed Best did the voice for Jar Jar Binks, whereas Alan Tudyk, did the mocap and voice. He was completely unaware that Ahmed Best actually was on set in a suit that cost like $100,000.
Yeah, it's true. I remember I saw that on Twitter right away. There was like backlash on that. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, there was some. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are very protective of Binks and the prequels as a whole, and they did not take kindly to that.
Yeah, but they're 12 and they live in the basement. Just kidding.
That's Tommy Bombadil 1 on Twitter.
That's Chop Rules with a Z.
Although, you know what, right off the bat from that Twitter Q&A, the host, the moderator, when he introduced Felicity Jones, he said that her character, Jin, has a twisted family secret, which perked my ears a little bit. And now, not having finished Catalyst yet, I don't know if that twisted family secret is in that book, or if there's something that we don't yet know, but that sounded pretty tantalizing to me. I hope it's not just that, well, her dad is the guy who built the Death Star, and that's the twisted family secret. That's what I was
going to say. That's like the obvious answer.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed if that's what he was getting at. That's not really twisted. That at this point, it's pretty well known. But since neither of us really watched any of the Facebook one, I guess we can move on from this topic, and we'll move into the Rogue One pre-sale ticket saga. And so if anybody was thinking that this movie may not succeed on the level that they expected, I think they can probably purge those beliefs, as Rogue One is number 2 all time, I believe, right behind The Force Awakens for pre-sale ticket. And that's a staggering amount. Like I the last time I checked, it was at did I get that off Making Star Wars? I believe I did. Yeah, so I got the story off Making Star Wars, as I get many stories, but MovieTickets.com reported that Rogue One is their biggest pre-sale of 2016, and that it's sold 90% of what The Force Awakens did on its first day. That's a staggering number, considering how well The Force Awakens sold its opening weekend.
Yeah, it's really impressive, actually. Good marketing, Disney. Well done. You know, it's funny. I was talking to somebody this weekend who was telling me all about Star Wars and like enlightening me on all this stuff, but he had a bunch of half information, but like even less than me, like half of what I usually have. But So he says to me, he says, you know what the rating is on this Star Wars movie? I was like, yeah, it's PG-13. He says, you know why? I'm like, no, tell me. He says, because of Vader. He's like, we're going to see Vader go really crazy. They had to rate it PG-13 because of Vader. I was like, huh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I somehow doubt that.
I think it's interesting that that's the message that somehow some people are getting.
I just think it's a war movie. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's for sure what I think too. More the, we've heard Saving Private Ryan tossed around a lot.
Yeah, I think you could pull Darth Vader out of this movie entirely and it will still be rated PG-13.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right, well, let's hope that these pre-sale ticket things just keep going, because that can only mean good things for the movie, and also makes things interesting for Disney when it comes to their decision early 2017 of what to do going forward with the saga, with the standalones, which direction will they lean. I think we'll touch on that again a bit later. But again, something from the Hollywood Reporter this week, because they can't really go a whole week without some sort of clickbaity headline. But this one caught me off guard for its brashness. Kathleen Kennedy says there will be no Rogue One sequel. And I'm like, why is this news? Like, no kidding, there isn't going to be a sequel. And of course, everybody at the same time made the same joke. Well, actually, there is a sequel to Rogue One. It's called A New Hope. James, did you see that headline?
I did.
Did it?
Yeah, and the only thing that I thought of, and I put this in the show notes really late, but it made me think right away, like, why would you say that unless, like, you want to be able to in a year from now be like, ha ha ha, remember when I said there won't be a sequel? That's because we're doing a prequel. Like, well, I don't know. There's got to be a reason. That's probably not it, but there's got to be a reason she's saying that out loud. Because we all sort of knew that already, didn't we?
I know. I remember we had talked about this in an earlier podcast, like probably like maybe in 10, 11 episodes ago. But I think you guys were both on the same page, saying, "Yeah, why not?" Pending how Rogue One does, we know that there's Bothans involved in sealing Death Star plans for a second Death Star and blah blah blah.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that same movie again.
Of course not. I was totally like, no way, they're not going to do it. Like, there's so much other stuff that could be done now.
No, I don't think we will. No, at least on big screen, no way that we see them steal the plans for the second Death Star.
No.
Yeah, no.
And prequels either. I mean, come on.
No, I think they would never do another prequel. I think they'll stay away from that word for a very, very long time.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree that this, no matter how well this movie does, and let's say there's a huge upswell in interest for, you name it, Jin or Chirrut, any of these characters, if there's a giant uprising of interest, groundswell of interest in one of these characters, I still don't think Disney's going to say, hey, can we do a spin-off for this character into a live-action movie? But that's not to rule out that they'll do novels or comics, whether ongoing or miniseries, for any or all of these characters. In fact, I would expect them to flesh out each of these characters just like they do everybody else over time.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you see a Baze and Chirrut 5-part miniseries?
Of course. A Cassian Andor series, how he kind of frees K2.
Yeah, I could see a Cassian Andor almost like series of novels where he is recruiting on behalf of the rebellion. You could totally see that happening. So yeah, I got a big chuckle out of the no sequel for Rogue One thing. Who doesn't know that already?
That's like when they told us that Chewbacca was going to be in the Han Solo movie.
Well, at least there was a small, like a 1% chance that maybe Chewbacca wouldn't be in it. Maybe they would save him for Han Solo Part 2.
That's
But
what makes me happy about
this
that
was
whole
a complete
project.
lock.
The whole Han Solo thing, though. Now we know we got Lando, Han, and Chewie. Like, again, there doesn't need to be a Han Solo trilogy. Kind of like they have all these characters. They could wrap it up, get the Falcon, do the Kessel Run, or meet Jabba. Whatever it is they got to do, all in one movie.
Well, I wouldn't rule out more than one Han Solo movie. I definitely wouldn't do that.
Probably not with the all-star cast I have lined up. So I agree with you there. But
And if I'm not mistaken, I think these actors signed multi-movie deals.
yeah, I
So
can see
that doesn't mean that they're necessarily, like, if you sign a 3-movie contract with Disney, that doesn't mean they're all Star Wars movies necessarily, but I think it's probably safe to say that, you know, Alden Ehrenreich, for example, is going to be Han Solo on more than one occasion. I think I can go on record as saying that.
Yeah, it's like
I think
anything.
you're right.
Like, just take like Michael Giacchino. Like, he's doing Rogue One, the score for Rogue One, and now he's doing. It just was announced, I think, 2-3 weeks ago that he's doing the score for the Spider-Man: Homecoming. Like, I don't know if that's a coincidence or
Yeah.
you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Maybe.
I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of backroom deals that get made that we never hear about until the tell-all book 40 years later. So zipping along here, guys. A guy I follow on Twitter who I enjoy very much, Jeremy Conrad at Manabite. He had an interesting piece on the 28th of November. And so he was mentioning how John Knoll, who's an ILM legend, and the guy who also, the whole idea of Rogue One as a film was his brainchild. He's the one that pitched it to the powers that be, and they said, "Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Let's do this." So he was talking to, I forget who he was talking to, but anyway, there's a very interesting snippet going around now, and Jeremy had this on his site, Furious Fanboys. I'll read this. So he quoted the Hollywood Reporter. So DD3/Digital Domain already has captured data of an Academy Award-winning actress for a $120 million motion picture. The movie release date is December 2016. Although the capture is complete, the data from this project has not been processed and must be. In addition, DD3/Digital Domain also has captured another well-known actress for a character that is integral to the story of a sequel of a well-known science fiction film. So as Jeremy goes on to elaborate, the Academy Award-winning actress is likely Jennifer Lawrence in the movie Passengers. And the second part, the well-known actress in a sci-fi sequel, could very well be Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. So all this is getting to sort of the holy grail of visual effects, which is recreating an actor, a human, and inserting them into a movie. So we're strongly here guessing that Leia is going to make some sort of appearance in Rogue One, which again I think we'll touch on in a bit. And another, which is more confirmed than anything, is in that one of the last TV spots. I think it was the one called Breathe. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a very quick shot of the laser dish being installed into the Death Star, and you see the back of somebody's head. And the back of that somebody's head the profile of it all looks a hell of a lot like Tarkin. And so going way back, going way back almost the beginning of Rogue One's genesis. People were saying that they're going to try this super ambitious endeavor to bring Peter Cushing back to life via CG, and they're going to sink all kinds of money into making this happen, because this is it. This is the holy grail of visual effects, is capturing somebody who's no longer with us and putting them back into a movie, making an actual human, sticking them in a movie. People all have great BS detectors built in that you can always spot when somebody's not real. But I guess we'll see. Like, Tarkin looks very much like he's going to be in this movie. And we'll see if they manage to fool us. Do you think this is something they can pull off, James?
No, I don't. I think our BS detectors are real sharp and they're not close. I think to be fooled, like really fooled, we'd have to be closer than we are now. It's not like I'm like almost fooled now by some of the movies. Like you always know, just about. I mean, there's moments where it looks really good, but you basically always know. So this is just such a leap forward. I think there's got to be a lot more baby steps in between what we've got now in movies and completely fooled. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I disagree, to be honest. I don't think he's going to have a huge role in the movie. So just seeing him for the brief glimpses that we do, I think the technology that we have, or they have, is going to be sufficient to fool our eyes, kind of. Like, there's something...
I'll put in an exception to say that if he's only got like a few seconds in the movie, then maybe we'll be fooled.
I don't see him having a significant role.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, going through Catalyst, it's clear he's going to be in Rogue One, I think. It would be silly not to, given how much he's in Catalyst. But I think we're already tainted in this experiment, whereas, like, we know Tarkin. We strongly suspect Tarkin's in this. So whenever he does arrive on screen, we're going to just look at him, and we're going to look for the BSness of it. Whereas if they didn't tell us, if let's say they inserted some random actor, they created somebody from scratch, or they modeled one of their employees and stuck him in as a CG person, but didn't tell anybody that they did it. Now, if we can spot that guy and say, "Hey, look at that guy, he looks fake," then we know it's not close yet. But if they fool us and say, "Hey, look, we put this CG human being in, nobody spotted it, we're there," I think we can't unknow what we already know. Peter Cushing's dead. He's probably going to be in Rogue One. All eyes are going to be on this effect. So in that respect, it's going to be pretty hard for them to avoid some criticism. But they're ballsy for sure. I'll give them that.
I'm curious about something. Who gets paid? Like does Leia get royalties for her likeness? Like, it brings up some like contractual stuff, no?
Yeah,
I would think so. Yeah,
there's some murkiness there, isn't there?
I would think.
Like, can Disney say, well, we're not paying the estate of Peter Cushing or whoever is in line to receive these royalties because it's a fictional character brought to life within a computer.
We own the character.
Yeah, it's our character.
Yeah.
We're bringing it to life, and it's being voiced by somebody else. He's getting paid. I don't know. Or do they just... It feels to me like the right thing to do would just say to the estate of Peter Cushing, your deceased loved one is going to be in our movie, and we're going to compensate you for it. Let's talk. Now, as long as that
yeah, I think that would be...
Yeah, as long as Peter Cushing's estate didn't be like, well, we want $50 billion. Well, okay, you're not being reasonable. But, for a short role that we suspect Tarkin will get, just be fair. Give the guy whatever rate is fair for that size of role and that caliber of actor, and move on.
I'm stoked to see it, and for sure it's got to be him.
Yeah, it's got to be. It would be really silly for it not to be.
The Leia thing is really, really interesting, and again, they could possibly use Carrie Fisher still. Possibly, I don't know. Pending.
No, I don't think so.
Impossible.
The voice her voice is gone.
Voice.
Her
That's
her
true.
stature. I mean, just listen to her voice now. It's not at all the same as it was.
No, but they could modify her voice. They could like start with her saying words and modify it. They could create it from scratch purely. I'm sure too. But I bet you it's easier if you start with like something. I could be wrong about that. Someone probably knows way better than me.
Well,
guys at Rogue Squad Pod, maybe.
Check this out. Basically, in Westworld right now, recently there was an episode recently where there's a flashback to Anthony Hopkins' character, and it's obviously him acting the role, but there's with the lighting and stuff, it's pulled off. Like it's maybe 20, 30 years earlier, and he looks the part, the age, you know? Like, you kind of buy it if it's filmed correctly. Like, I don't know, it was really well done.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be like 19. Man.
Yeah.
You can't just peel off 40 years without... Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to do what they did to Michael Douglas in Ant-Man or Tony Stark in Civil War. I think it's quite another to go from 58 or 59-year-old Carrie Fisher to 19-year-old Carrie Fisher. I don't think that works.
Well, we'll put it this way though. Like, I think the one point that we can all come to agree on is I don't think we can see another actress really playing that role yet. Like, I think they have to do CG. You know what I mean? Like, they have to make her likeness, Carrie's likeness. It has to be Princess Leia. Like, if you see a new actress playing this role, like, I think everyone's gonna kind of be taken aback a bit, you know. And again, it's like,
Corey, you are gonna hate the new Han Solo.
Well,
movie.
yeah, we just crossed this bridge. We also a year ago, we were saying the same thing. Well, you it's too soon. You can't cast Han Solo yet. But they've done it. We've crossed that bridge. We've kind of accepted it. Lando too.
Yeah, the casting's so good, but I don't see it with Carrie with Leia yet. Like, I really think they got to stay true to. I don't know. I just wouldn't buy it, you know, as much as I would Han Solo or these other adventurous types.
Well, I'll say this.
Sexist.
I don't know if this makes sense, but if they captured Carrie Fisher's likeness from the original trilogy and now they're recreating a 3D model based on that look, and that's one thing. But if they're ever going to recast that role, I don't know. Like, should they? No, never mind. I'm not making sense. But if they're gonna recast the Leia role, which I don't think they'll do, but in that age bracket, something's gonna feel off. Because you're never gonna have Carrie Fisher at that age. So either you're gonna do a completely CG Carrie Fisher, or I'm not making sense. Let's just move on.
But I know what you mean. You know who? I heard a lot of hype recently about the girl from Stranger Things. How she would be a perfect, like, maybe in a few years, perfect Leia.
I did see that. Yeah, no, I did see that. And the look is there, I think.
The attitude is there.
And, well, yeah, the look is there, and I think the acting chops are certainly there. So that's not a bad idea.
But yeah, and even if she does cameo in this movie, like, again, she's not going to have a huge role. It's going to be a backdoor, shadowy kind of deal. Like, you know, Bale possibly handing the plans to her directly for like a second or two.
Hey, don't steal my thunder.
Uh-huh.
Don't steal my thunder. Yeah, James, I don't add sound effects to this show for expediency's sake. So if you want to add any, you're going to have to just sort of mix them in.
I'll do it on my own track. We've tried that before, putting it just on my track, and I miss sometimes, so we stopped doing that.
Okay, so that's. I mean, what percent chance, Corey, do you think that Leia is in Rogue One?
I'll go as far as saying, like, I'm more yes than no, so...
Put a number. Commit.
Let's just say, I would say, yeah, yes, so I'll go high chance, like 70%.
Okay, James?
Yeah, more. Yeah, I'd say I'm 80%. I'd say I'm pretty sure that they'll do something.
Well,
even if it's just like a shot from behind of like we never see her face, but like the bun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so easy to make her recognizable, like to know.
Iconic. I think the word is iconic, James.
Visually iconic.
Well, yeah, she's in that like flowing white gown with the hood, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it'd be pretty easy to like just even shoot somebody from the back and never show her face and give her no lines and say Princess Leia was in the movie.
Yeah. I'm going like 95% that she's in it.
Yeah.
I'm more convinced now after having read the link you had sent us from Manabite, basically. or Furious fanboys.
So my theory that I posted to the site a few months ago didn't convince you?
Like I was tantalized. I was still more, I thought it was really interesting, but I wasn't 100% sure, like I was
To
more.
Corey's defense, it is hard to be convinced by something you didn't read.
Ow.
No, we talked about it on the show. I did read it.
I'm just kidding. We did. I know.
I thought it was super interesting, and I was like, damn, like it's like I gave you total props because it made sense. But now after this article that was written about like the Academy Award winning actress and all this stuff, I was like,
Okay, now on Tarkin, do we need to do the percent chance, or is it just it's a lock?
Lock.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
I believe you guys. I don't really know, but I believe you.
It's 100% Tarkin's in it.
Yeah, the stature, the posture. It's Williff.
What a strange name, eh? Wilhuff.
I like it. It's like the William of the GFFA.
So next time, for your next kid, call him Wilhuff, okay?
Yeah, let's see if I can get away with that. I almost got away with Leia if I had a girl. But
Leia is a bridge too far from Wilhuff. If you could sell Wilhuff, mad props, man. Okay, so no Obi-Wan standalone in development yet, and we're all kind of scratching our heads as to why. Why can't Disney get their act together and just put this movie on track? We want it. Ewan McGregor wants to do it. So do it. What's the problem? And maybe we have some answers. So Anthony Breznican, the guy who's just doing the Lord's work over at Entertainment Weekly, he guested on Rebel Force Radio last week, and he heard a rumor that the Disney is not, or Lucasfilm, sorry, is not done with Obi-Wan yet in the saga films, episodes 8 and 9, which is kind of a bombshell, right? Corey, do you expect Obi-Wan to come back?
I don't expect him to come back, but I never ruled out the possibility of Force Ghost, or we heard his voice in episode 7. There's that, and we've also mulled the possibility over that he possibly may be genetically related to Rey. Like, there's so many things left to bring him back into the equation, knowing that, like, they don't want to tell us anything about future, like, projects, because, anything that happens in 8 and 9 will directly affect that, right? And it's also, if something does happen, it's going to leave us like seething or like drooling for more, we're going to now we have to find out more about Obi-Wan. It would be the perfect segue into another standalone.
Yeah. James, do you have a take on this?
Hey, I don't have a lot to add to what Corey just said. I think I had a lot of the same thoughts when I read the show notes earlier and yesterday. First of all, yes, I'd love to see more Obi-Wan. When we say bring him back, I don't think anybody means bring him back from the dead. But if he's going to be in it, he'll be in it as a Force Ghost. I didn't see it coming. I didn't necessarily expect that, so I was a bit surprised. I was surprised, but in a good way. I'm happy about it, and I think it could make a lot of sense for launching a spin-off movie, depending on how they read him in.
Yeah, so I guess as Anthony Breznican said, that anything that they put into an Obi-Wan movie, set in the expected time frame of between episodes 3 and 4, might reference episodes 8 and 9. So for the sake of not wanting to lock themselves in, handcuff themselves, or spoil anything, any Obi-Wan movie is going to have to wait until past 2020 anyway. Which I at this point, they're already locked and loaded with Han Solo in episode 9. So yeah, I think we're all kind of used to the idea of waiting for Obi-Wan regardless. But I find what he had to say really interesting. But if he comes back, if Obi-Wan comes back in this current trilogy, we've already heard about a Yoda Force Ghost, and that Frank Oz was over in London doing work over at Pinewood or somewhere closely related to the production of Episode 8. If you have a Yoda Force Ghost, an Obi-Wan Force Ghost, there's been kind of small murmurings of an Anakin Force Ghost. Is this too many Force Ghosts?
No. I want to
go fish.
I'd like to hear. I'd like to continue to hear like possibly just voices more than ghosts per se. But as you were speaking about this, I'd never really thought about that. But do you think at one point, like Anakin, it would make a lot of sense for him to come back at one point, even if not just to talk to Kylo or even Luke, you know?
Well, okay, so you said something pretty key there, and I think maybe a lot of people have already thought about it, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. Why hasn't Anakin already appeared to Kylo and been like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I think that ship has sailed. It's too late for Anakin to show up now. So has Anakin lost his ability to manifest himself as a Force ghost? Seems
maybe
hard to
Kylo
believe.
wasn't strong enough to communicate, or he wasn't at a level able to see that kind of, you know. He could still communicate with Luke, I would think, no?
I would imagine so. But it's really interesting to me. I guess we're going to learn more about the nature of Force ghosts and who can appear to who, or who's able to connect with who on the other side, you know? Kylo wasn't always bad, and that may have been the time to talk to Grandpa. But at some point, maybe he crossed over to evil so quickly that once you're on the other side of that fence, you can no longer commune with quote-unquote good Force ghosts. It seems a bit convoluted. Like that, I think that's muddying the waters an awful lot. That suddenly, just because you've had a change of heart, you can't talk to the same people anymore. I don't know. Does James, does this make sense to you, or
no? That would be a weird sort of like unnatural law of the galaxy. It would be. I would have a hard time sort of digesting when and how that applies. And then does it flip back when you're feeling nice?
Yeah, like it seems like you're setting yourself up for a boatload of weird rules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. So why hasn't Anakin already appeared to Kylo as he was sort of teetering? Because I don't know how long it took Kylo to actually turn to evil, but I got to imagine it wasn't just like a snap decision that took place in 5 seconds. I think there was probably a process, and so I wonder why Anakin never appeared to him at some point and just said, "Like I know you're looking at that Darth Vader thing that I did, and you think that's cool." It really wasn't. Like nothing about it was all that fun. So just pump the brakes and maybe take a step back from that. Like, but that seems to have not ever happened, and I do not want to see them visit that in episodes 8 or 9. Timeline wise, it doesn't make sense to me.
I still think the unveiling of who Vader actually was to Kylo is gonna still continually unfold in the saga as well. It's obviously the direct reason why he turned to the dark side. So,
well, how do you mean?
I still don't think he's fully informed as to exactly the full situation, the full scope of things. You know what I mean?
Are you saying you don't think that he's aware? Kylo's aware of what Darth Vader did as Anakin?
That, and like there's still the fact that basically like he thinks Vader had some unfinished business of some sort, right? Like I don't think he has the full story.
I mean, they believe that Vader emerged from this weak goody two shoes, and that one moment of compassion from it for his son ruined it all. That's sort of Ren and Snoke's take on Vader. I don't know if that clarifies anything for you.
Yeah, it makes sense, but I still think there's more to it than I don't know. I think Ren's in for a surprise when he finds out the whole truth. And again, it's still Luke and Leia and Han's fault for all this.
It's a scorcher of it. Oh, yeah, you've been on that for a while though.
It's true. I mean, just be honest. Like, you know the kid's a prodigy. Like, he's obviously gonna have a big role to play in the galaxy. But no, let's wait till he's really torn and confused, and yeah, like it's like you're asking for it at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how easy it is to tell. I mean, it's hard to put myself in those shoes, but I don't know how eager I'd be to tell my kids that their grandfather was the galaxy's biggest murderer.
Well, as I think James and I like to say, suck it up, Buttercup. Like, in a way, like you tell it to him in a way that this is the way it is. Like, it's you could do it in a gentle way. But I don't think it'd be easy for anyone to do that. But it's one of those things that kind of needs to be done. No matter how hard it is, you got to kind of like take the deep breath, and take the plunge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, that's certainly true. I do think it's a case of easier said than done, though.
Well, it doesn't apply to every scenario either, but yeah, I think as a general rule, I mostly agree with that.
Well, I just remember back in the day in my gym class, our gym instructor, basically, if someone did something wrong, everyone was doing push-ups, like I think it was 20 or 30 at a time, until someone fessed up. If people didn't fess up, like, he encouraged you afterward to kind of like razz the person.
Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, you remember O'Reilly?
You never made us do that.
Yeah, we did it. But if it was me whoever was goofing around or whatever, I'd come clean right away and take my licks or whatever it is. I'd be like, all right, yeah, it was me. Okay, detention, whatever it is. No one else has to do push-ups. But the people who keep it in for so long, we do like 60 push-ups, and then yeah, it's best just to come clean right off the bat, man.
Yeah. Well, that's what parents tend to tell their kids, right?
Yeah, so they should practice what they preach.
It really bothers you, huh?
It does. Dude, the galaxy's at stake.
Steak.
I love steak.
Calamari.
Akbar.
Getting hungry for that dinner, boys, in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you should sidebar. I can't believe you haven't ranted about this yet, Kyle. Like, I felt so bad for you about the your daughter, my niece's Christmas concert. Is the same evening, I believe.
Oh, what is there rant about? My daughter, for the uninformed, so we're here. We're planning this spectacular night. November or December 15th, we're going to go see Rogue One. We're going to have dinner beforehand. It's going to be great. Until I get a letter in the mail saying my daughter's Christmas concert is December 15th at 7 p.m. Uh-oh. Luckily, I had bought tickets for the 10 o'clock show to leave us a window to eat dinner. But now that window is obviously going to be chipped away at, because who would skip their kids' Christmas concert? Really? I mean, come on. James, is it a question for you?
No brainer. That was the obvious choice.
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It hurts a little. Like, it's unfortunate the timing of both events are the same night, but you don't even have to think about that.
I mean, no, so Corey, there's nothing for me to rant about. It's sort of unfortunate timing and luck that it's playing out this way. I'll probably miss out on a half hour, maybe a little bit more of our dinner, but I'll be there in plenty of time for the main event, which is the movie. So
it makes me think, though, like, moving forward, and I think James and I's children are going to school next year as well, and I'm thinking about that for the future now too. Like, it'll always be the same conflict, because we know we're having a Star Wars film every Christmas time from here on out for God knows how long, and we know our kids are constantly going to be involved in these concerts and whatnot around the same time of year. So it's going to be like, oh boy.
Yeah, but
the older they get,
you're right,
it's not a conflict.
But it could be.
I'm gonna have to homeschool my kids.
But it's true though. Like once they're in grade 5 or 6, they might be getting on stage at like 9:30.
Whoa! The school's not going to schedule them a late night like that. Parents
What
will
time's
just say,
Harley on stage?
I don't know. Yeah, but this is split over more than one night. Just that my daughter's on the 15th.
Okay, all right.
And there's also they do a 10 o'clock or 10 a.m. and a 7 p.m. So anyway, it's like I said, there's nothing for me to rant about. I'm going to my daughter's Christmas concert, and then I'm going to see Rogue One. That's a pretty damn good night. Oh, and in between, I'm having dinner with you guys. So first world problems, really, right?
You can't win them all, but pretty good lineup.
It's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah. I think James and I are going to be well into our calamari before you get there, though.
That's all right. Don't worry. I will catch up.
Oh, gross. Ketchup with calamari?
That's awful. But yeah, no, please don't worry about me. I will be just fine. Okay, so before we talk about Rebels, Corey, let's just slip in this little note here about John Williams, who's going to begin scoring episode 8 this month. That is some solid news, if you ask me.
Yeah, we kind of called it. Like, I thought it would be actually done a little earlier than this because we've been hearing so much news about it recently. But it's amazing. Like, God, like the first thing that comes to my head is poor Michael Giacchino. Like, guy's like still probably working on the score. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think he had 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or was it 8 weeks? I can't remember. Either way, like just the shortest amount of times. Whereas John Williams, like, he's working on it right off the bat, and which kind of means there's also a rough cut of the film that he's going to be receiving shortly to watch, which is
he's already if he's scored the movie, he's already seen. If he's scored it and he's recording this month, he's already seen the movie
multiple times.
Absolutely, yeah. He's whatever rough cut exists, he's already seen it. And he probably saw it a good month or so ago, if not more.
Which is just so interesting to me. I like how far ahead of the game the saga, how prepared they are to do the saga, and how some of the things for Rogue One came together last minute. You know what I mean? Not to say that it's going to be bad or whatever. Like, just the to be still working on the editing and the music and whatnot it must be quite a bit of pressure for Disney. Kind of, I would think they were like pretty scared.
I'm very, very interested, more than any other book. So more than The Force Awakens, I want to read about the making of Rogue One, because it's been a bumpy ride. And this is not talking about the dreaded reshoots word, but there have been multiple writers on this movie. It's the script has gone through tons of changes, and I don't want to dismiss the reshoot thing completely. And of course, there was the switch, like we've been talking about, from Alexandre Desplat to Michael Giacchino. It's not been a smooth ride by any stretch. So I would like to know, and it's very public info, so I'd like to see how transparent a making of book would be.
Besides changing directors, I wonder if this one, Rogue One, is sort of most like A New Hope in terms of like, everything just getting off the ground and last minute decisions and script changes and.
Yeah, well,
that's a cool way of looking at it.
In tandem with these Friday press events that they had last week, the Twitter live Q&A, the Facebook live Q&A, they aired a new clip of the movie, but they also screened the first 28 minutes or so of the movie for certain members of the press. And I find that a strange decision. Like, why 28 minutes? I know, and it's to give them a taste of what's coming, but why? Like, I don't get the decision behind that. Like, if you're you can't expect journalists to write a review based on 28 minutes, because how can you write a proper review based on a third of a movie or a quarter of a movie, right? Like,
it sounds to me like that was an editor going, show them as much as you can and don't give everything away. So he's like, okay, I can show them 28 whole minutes and tell them nothing. No, not nothing, obviously, but you know what I mean? It sounds like that number is just probably wasn't the target. It's the result of like how much can we sort of show them with keeping what we want to keep.
From what I gather is I feel like I think they must have seen the first 28 minutes of the movie, obviously. So
yeah, exactly.
I would think the first 28 minutes are going to be a slow build up to something. I don't think we're going to see anything like too. It's going to be character building and story building, kind of like catching everyone up as to where we are in the film.
Well, the one review I read, I trust Peter Sciretta from Slash Film. So he wrote a spoiler-free review, and apparently, the big takeaway is that it moves really fast in introducing people and the places. And the characters are great. He said he could really love the characters, but the speed at which the movie moved in the first half hour, it was like whoa, 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 whoa. And he, of course, he had to say maybe they tweaked this. Maybe this is why they do this, right? Is to get some kind of response or feedback, and maybe they go back to the editing room once more and slow it down or speed it up some more. I don't know, but
I don't like it when films do that. To be honest, when they rush through things and. Like it's just when it feels like a cast is thrown together like that. Like I hope that's not the route they take.
Yeah, and sometimes when movies or when studios don't screen their movie for the press, it's a sign that the movie's a pile of junk. I don't if I'm not mistaken, I think Suicide Squad didn't screen for the press. I might be wrong, but as a rule, or a guideline, I guess is better, really bad movies don't get screened just because they know that for a week or two prior to the actual release, this movie's just going to get trashed. So they just don't show it.
That can ruin movies too. That can sink them.
And it does, of course. So Rogue One is here in this nether region of we screen part of it, but not all of it. So is that because they're afraid of what's in it? Or what's the play there? Why do you want to just show a portion of the movie? It's not like you need the press. This is the most anticipated movie of the year. What gives? I don't know.
I think probably because, I think going back to what I said before, you can probably introduce all the characters in 28 minutes, but you don't give away the story. And that's, that was their goal. Let's give them all the new characters, but not the story.
And at least the early opinions of the characters are all good. I'll take that as a positive, but I wouldn't really fault anybody for saying that they're nervous about the movie based on this. Anyway, this all started with with John Williams and his resuming his work for episode 8. And not to steal Michael Giacchino's thunder. There's your cue, James. There you go. But listen, John Williams is Star Wars to me, and I just can't wait to hear what he has next.
Yeah, it's going to be epic.
And just the attachment that he feels towards the Rey character, like he badly wants to do this. Like I given the guy's age. I wonder if he can just use this mind over matter thing to keep himself healthy long enough to do Star Wars, to see this through to its end.
I wonder if he's got some kind of deal set up with him as well, in the sense that, hey, I am getting on in years, so if you want me to score this, I don't want to be stressed about it. So get me an early rough cut of the film, and I'm going to have ample time to work on it. So I'm not rushed, basically.
Well, I'm sure that's
pressured.
Part of it. I'm sure that's part of it. That yes, listen, I'm in my mid 80s. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this or can do this. So I'm happy to do it. I'd like to do it, but this is the way I need to do it. I need a long runway to do this. I just can't do it on an intense schedule. I'm sure that's part of the conversation. All right, so let's, Corey, you want to talk about Rebels very quickly here?
Sure.
All right, boys, I'll jump off for 10.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Fire me off a text.
Okay, so Corey, an inside man. What were your
likey?
Yeah, well,
liked
you always likey, even when you don't like, you still like.
No, you can tell. Like the past couple episodes have been very. Even this one, it wasn't very like mind blowing or whatever, but it was good. It was a very good episode. It was. It had my attention the whole time. I only got a chance to catch it the one time, which kind of sucks. Usually, I'll watch an episode 3-4 times prior to coming on the show, but I missed it, coming back from your place so late last night. I missed it. I taped it this morning. I watched
8 o'clock.
it first thing this morning.
That's a sign of our age, right? 8 o'clock is now late.
Well, I got home at about 8:45, and I didn't want to catch it halfway through. And I missed PVRing it, so I PVR'd it this morning. And anyhow, no, it's very cool. Like the first thing that came to my mind was, it felt very comfortable, very familiar being back on Lothal.
Well, yeah, that was my first note. For a show that's only 2 years old, 2 years and change, this was a throwback, quote unquote, to season 1 with action on Lothal.
And characters, and which we'll get into, but just just them scheming on Lothal, like on top of a rooftop, just like right at the beginning, like full circle.
Yeah, it was a very, like you said, it was a very comfortable episode. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It. No, I really liked it. I liked what we learned about several characters, the visuals. Again, like I missed Lothal. I've been curious, and it kind of seems like it's gone to hell in a way,
Yeah, I mean, it's very. I mean, the way Lothal is being stripped of its resources and just turned into a de facto Imperial production facility, it very much underlines what went on in Catalyst, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting. Like,
so,
I was very surprised with a few things in this episode.
I'm sure we'll touch on them, but the first thing I want to ask you is, how many times can that Imperial facility be infiltrated? Like, it feels like they've snuck into that place in disguise a half dozen times. I'm sure it's not that many, but it feels that way.
Well,
when is the Empire going to step up its security?
Well, that's the one thing that kind of let me down. Like, we're all praising Thrawn as this godsend, and yes, he was there, and yes, he was picking up the pieces, but yeah, like
somebody's going to say, "Oh no, Thrawn wants them to infiltrate so that he can get closer to them and learn more about them." To which I say, BS, get out of here.
No, but that's possibly, well, it could be the fact that I think we have knowledge now that Thrawn, more or less through the process of deduction, knows that Fulcrum is Kallus.
You think?
So
that was going to be my last question, but you skipped right to the end.
Well, it kind of made sense to do that at that point, but yeah, like the whole episode, wow, like I think it could have been a test for Kallus.
I'm glad they didn't hide that for too much longer. That Kallus is in fact Fulcrum, because we all knew it, right? Like that question's been kicking around for a while. At least I was 99% convinced that Kallus was Fulcrum. The voice of Fulcrum in this current season, they barely even tried to hide that it was Kallus.
Well, you should look back on your Twitter feed. I think before the season even came out, you were banging on that drum.
Well, if you can find my tweet, you can send it my way. I'm too lazy to look.
I guarantee you did say that.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes back to the honorable ones, where Kallus had an obvious change of heart, and you had Zeb in this episode say something to the effect that I must have accidentally recruited him.
That's why, again, I think that that meteorite that kept him warm is going to come back into play at one point. Maybe Zeb gets it back, but I think Thrawn's going to kind of ascertain, saying, okay, like, you were trapped there with the rebel, and like this artifact that you keep or whatever, this keepsake, is native to that moon, and it means something to you, and blah 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 blah. Like.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, I mean that's a very Thrawn take.
But yeah, he was on to something there. I think he was always one step behind them. And of course, I think the big part of that was because of Chopper, who even Kallus gives major props to. I think they had a really good rapport, Chopper and Kallus, in this episode. It was really funny. Chopper was saying, trust him.
So finally, let's talk about Fulcrum a bit more. So is Thrawn definitely onto him? Or is he just and he's letting Kallus do his thing with the rebels, and in doing so he's kind of letting Kallus bait the hook for him?
Yeah. But I think even Kallus seems to know that he knows, So he's kind of just like, he's going to have to take either a step back or just be a lot more careful about what the information he's getting to them. But Thrawn's going to be all over that. Like, it's going to end up in a big, big trap, basically. Like, Kallus will be unsuspecting. Like, Kallus isn't going to set them up purposefully, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like Kallus knows that he's either like just the looks on Kallus's face. It tells me that he knows that Thrawn knows.
Oh yeah.
So he's got to tread very carefully, and if at all possible, he's got to jump ship. He's got to defect.
Process of deduction, man. Like, it's happened twice now in this series where Thrawn's been on site as well. So is Kallus, and Sabine and Wedge and them escaped. Now this time, but that was so funny when he's like, "We have to make this look believable," and then Ezra's like, "Okay," poof, like totally force pushes him.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in Rebels.
Seriously, that was awesome.
Yeah, because they were taken aback when Kallus says, "I'm Fulcrum," and they're like, "Yeah, okay, sure." And then Chopper's like, "No, you gotta believe him."
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was pretty clear they didn't really trust him, but they had not much other choice.
He gave them some kind of code or something. He said, "Over the crescent moon," something, which was the code.
Yeah, and how else would he have had that? Yeah, that was definitely a funny moment. Ezra just nonchalantly tossing him through a window to make the whole conflict look believable, which of course it didn't, because Thrawn is immediately onto the trail.
I know we jumped kind of right to the end here too, but I couldn't believe they actually did this on screen. Really, was the reason why Thrawn is there, because there's an uncanny number of basically material equipment coming out of this one factory that's been sabotaged, more or less. Like, the speeder bikes are heating up and exploding. The AT-ATs aren't working properly. Like, whatever it is, the equipment's just... It's clear that there's a saboteur involved, which is why Thrawn is there. And Mr. Suma, which is a character we've met from the past who Ezra had freed, basically, he meets his demise.
He got blown up. In
which is hardcore.
Well, I mean, he's...
I'd never seen... I don't know, I didn't think they'd take it that far, you know what I mean? Where he's just like, "Oh, I gotta give up." He even lets off, and you're kind of, as a fan, you're just like, okay, like, he's gonna get thrown in jail. Then Thrawn's just like, "Oh no," like, presses the button again, like, he's just like, "Ah," like, you're like, whoa, dude, seriously?
Well, I mean, they gotta... Week after week, we've seen Thrawn just sort of let the rebels get away, and he's sort of been nothing but a windbag at this point. Do something.
Well, I think
he finally did.
He was probably trying to call them out, like, from that group of people. He knew someone else in there was an infiltrator or a saboteur as well that would possibly react.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to scare them straight, which of course is not going to work. So they talked about this they kept alluding to a secret project. And I think anybody who was watching was probably, given the timing of the release of the episode right before Rogue One, ooh, they're talking about the Death Star. So were you disappointed when it wasn't the Death Star?
No, not at all.
Were you expecting some kind of Death Star reference?
It popped in there, but I wasn't expecting it. I thought it would have been cool, but definitely wasn't expecting it.
All right. Well, the secret project was some sort of high-tech shielded TIE fighter called the TIE Defender, which is from one of the Star Wars video games. It's never before been in any type of show or movie. Definitely not a movie. Comic that I'm aware of anyway. It's from one of the old games. And I don't know if...
You know what? I thought it was in Rogue One for some reason, and I thought your poll would have like been verified basically this week.
Nope. No, that the TIE Defender is this secret project that they're working on. The one from Rogue One is the TIE Striker. Uh-huh. So, anything else you want to mention about the Inside Man before we proceed?
Not too much. I think it was a good episode. Better than the last few anyhow. And yeah, that's about it. Felt good to be home.
Yeah, it definitely felt good to be home. And next is, well, I guess the last one before we take a break. It's going to take, it looks like Rebels is going to be on a bit of a hiatus while Rogue One gets its day in the sun. But next we have, Voices and Visions. And I think the synopsis of that one is that Ezra has to take part in some sort of strange ritual to sever his connection to Maul, which sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But even more interesting, I can't remember, I don't know who to credit for this, but it's certainly not me. Somebody had caught their TV listing for Rebels, coming out of the break, whenever that is. There's a 2-parter coming up called The Ghosts of Geonosis.
Ooh.
Now that is going to, I'd be stunned if that did not reference the Death Star directly.
Seriously.
So, who knows? But Rebels continuing to put out at least entertaining episodes, if not earth-shattering, world-building, canon-impacting episodes. But those will come. Like, what's your take? Do you feel like... Would you prefer Rebels if they just did like 8 to 10 episodes of just straight goods, like just straight up impacting the canon and move on? Or do you prefer these 22 episode seasons where half of them are, for lack of a better word, I hate to use it, but filler, where we just get these little nods here and there to that's world, I guess world building is the way to put it.
Yeah, give me it all. I'm taking all 22 for sure. Like, you get the good, and, like, I don't dislike any of them, really. Like, you can't expect them all to be... you could write it in a way where, yeah, you just see all the action, but no, I definitely like the character building and the world building, for sure.
Now, I'm with you there on the character building. I think that's important. I wish there was a way for the show to be a little more dense, that's all. Like, there are like, for example, the last 2 weeks, you and I sat down to talk about Rebels, and there was just, there was nothing there, man.
No, you're right.
What up, boys?
Mr. James, nice to have you back.
I am back.
All right, so now that you're back, I guess we'll follow suit, and we will hear from our good friend, the Knight of the Star Wars Commonwealth, Mr. Ads, over in the UK, and we'll check what he's got for us this week.
Evening, boys. So we are almost there. Tickets have been bought, and for once Christmas seems to be a bit of an afterthought as we're ticking off the days until Rogue One rather than Christmas Day. And I guess with Disney now involved, that's going to be a common occurrence in December now. I guess the only real question that is left is who's actually going to buy the Akbar and tickets. Anyhow, this week I thought I would send you the same questions that I sent in to Talk Star Wars, fellow Commonwealth members. And so the first one is, many years from now, due to the incredible success of the Star Wars Commonwealth and Tumbling Saber, Talk Star Wars, Generation X-Wing, Rogue Squadron, and the Skyhoppers, not to mention perhaps a number of other podcasts that have all joined the Commonwealth, are now all household names. And in honour of your sterling work, Disney decide they want to make a film of your life. And so, who plays you in said film? And my second question this week is, you have to get a tattoo, with no exceptions, no loopholes, Corey. You have to get a tattoo. And so, I want to know what you'd have and where you'd have it. Great job as always, boys, and I look forward to hearing this and obviously Sith Disturbers as well next week. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.
And there goes ads. Thank you, sir. Thank you for another set of great questions this week. I guess more personal stories this week. So James, why don't you kick it off? What actor would play James O'Flaherty in a Disney adaptation of your life?
Before you go further, I almost have a feeling I think at least 2 or 3, or we might go 3 for 3 on this. But go for it, James.
No way. We're not going. No way.
What do you mean? Like we're all going to say the same thing?
Yeah.
There's
no way. I would say I'll say that none of us overlap at all.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so the person that we would want to play us and the person who I think maybe is best cast would be 2 different answers. But so I'd like to be, if I was casting myself, I would choose James Franco to play me.
Cool.
Because I just think he's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a wicked choice.
And if someone was casting me, believe it or not, I still get this pretty, more than anyone else. Like, people walk up to me and say, have you ever been told? I get this guy more than anyone, so I guess I'll just say Jeremy Piven.
What?
I don't really see it.
I don't see it at all. Dude, I see that you're...
I don't really either.
I see your...
But I get it a lot.
I see your shaven self as a younger Tom Cruise, almost, kind of.
I almost said Tom Cruise. I did. He's not tall.
Exactly. That's where it came from. And plus your Maverick costume from back in the day.
Yeah, that's true.
How about you, Corey? I think those are solid choices, James. James, I am a big James Franco fan. He's sometimes a bit weird, but I think he's definitely a good actor.
Yeah, he is, and I think he'd get my character down. He'd study me, and then we'd have to hang out for that to happen. So win-win.
And you would end up filming some sort of Pineapple Express sequel.
God willing.
Which I would totally watch.
Yeah. It's got to be coming. I can't believe that's not already in the works.
I know. That was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Great action sequences, too.
That brawl in that bungalow, that just killed me. And a top 10...
There's a part where one of them hits their head on the sink, and the sound is just perfect. It really makes me flinch every time.
The part where Seth Rogen's character, he's just had enough. He goes, "This ends now," and he just tosses the guy and he bashes his head. Is that the part where he hits his head on the sink?
It's a ceramic, and I don't know what they use to make the sound. Maybe an actual skull on a ceramic sink. 'Cause boy, the sound effect
God, just that thud.
Jarring.
Yeah, that was I love that movie. I laughed a lot. All right, Corey, who's playing you?
I don't know. I had a hard time with this one as well. I was who, physically, all that stuff. There's so many people on the list at first, and then I chopped so many down. But who I'd like to play, and I think would make a lot of sense too, at this time, super hot actor right now, Chris Pratt. Star-Lord, man. Come
on. Chris Pratt. He wasn't at the top of my list, but
so wait. Are you talking
I could see it. I'm surprised
Star-Lord Chris Pratt or Andy from The Office Chris Pratt?
Well, he's done a lot of good stuff. Like even what's that movie? And he's in Wanted, and he's such like he's a dick in that movie, but his career's changed a lot since then. But yeah, I don't know. He just seems like such a funny. He's a funny dude. Like he's happy-go-lucky.
Well,
like optimistic.
who doesn't like Chris Pratt? There, the silence is telling. Everybody likes Chris Pratt.
For sure.
Okay, so that's who you would want to play you. Who do you think would play you? You don't have to answer it because I only have one answer. There's a backstory to mine, but
Can I say who I think I would cast for you, Corey?
You got to take into consideration my strong jawline and my butt chin.
Jawline accounted for. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm surprised you didn't take Ehrenreich, or however you say his name. I was sure that's who you were going to choose.
No.
Yeah, Han Solo, man.
so my story, I can only think of this one way, and there's a 20-year-old backstory to this. So way back in our college days, a friend of ours was, I don't know how serious he was about it, but he had started writing a screenplay. It was very Kevin Smith-esque, and he was writing a screenplay with all his friends in the movie. And he was casting actors in his mind as assigning roles to each of his friends. So for me, he had said, the actor who's going to play you is Casey Affleck. And at the time, think back 20 years. Who was Casey Affleck? There was one Affleck 20 years ago.
Yeah.
No, Casey was in, wasn't he also in?
Good Will Hunting?
Was it Good Will Hunting? Yeah, wasn't he also in that?
He was, but I also don't think this predates that.
Oh, yeah, you're
Going way back. Like, I barely knew who he was. I was like, wait, who's Casey Affleck? He's like, no, it's Ben's younger brother.
Goodwill. It can't predate. Like, that was the introduction to, like, Ben and Matt as a duo.
Well, we were at John Abbott College at the time. So this is...
Yeah, it makes sense. It's probably, like...
95, 96, 97. This is...
Yeah, 97 makes sense for Good Will Hunting. I think I was still in high school, so...
What year was Good Will Hunting? 97.
97.
But,
go, baby.
But this friend didn't make it through CEGEP, so I don't know. I don't know if he was actually... I don't know. He actually used to hang out at the college even though he had dropped out, so... Anyway, that's the actor he had cast for me. And that's kind of always stuck. Like, people have asked me this question before. Who's playing you in the story of your life? Well, my friend once cast Casey Affleck as me, so I'm going to go with that. At the time, I was like, who the hell's he? But as we came to know Casey Affleck over the years, he's a pretty good actor. So I'm just sticking with it.
I don't see it, bro.
Well, he doesn't look anything like me.
I think it's not bad. No, not for looks necessarily, but like I think he could play you well.
And
yeah, who do you like for your brother, Corey?
Peter Cushing.
That's awesome.
No, I don't know. Who would be good, Kyle?
Okay, I got one for Kyle. Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah. Maybe
he's got like that analytical.
Yeah, not the
again, not the look.
Yeah, not the look, but yeah.
You're Lex Luthor, apparently,
Okay.
Kyle.
Yep.
hey, brilliant guy. Very smart guy.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
All right. That is sort of a question I do get asked. Have you guys been asked that question before?
I've never have, no.
I have, yeah. I used to have a strong association. I used to tell people when I was like 26, I was like the Brad Pitt version of in Fight Club. Seriously, like
you really should have take a look in the mirror and do some positive reinforcement. You need a higher opinion of yourself.
No, it's like I loved his clothes and stuff. I had so many like similar shirts to that. Like I love that movie.
You know what? And honestly, I'm not just the one that jumps out to me that you say that. I think you're much more Ed Norton than you are Brad Pitt.
A good mix of both.
Not Ed Norton from that movie. More Ed Norton from like.
Don't say American History
What
X.
was he cooler in? No, definitely not American History.
Death to Smoochie.
Jesus.
Death to Smoochie, no?
Yeah.
You know who I'd love to play me? I'd love to get one of the Hemsworth boys to play me. I think that fits. What do you
Definitely.
Don't laugh. I think it's fair.
No, that laughing was because I'm just thinking they probably should happen. Like that's the most real thing I heard.
Of course. So Corey, who did you think we were going to overlap on? Like you thought we were all going to say Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Huh. 0 for 3, dude. Well, 1 for 3, I guess. Hey, 1 for 3 makes you a Hall of Famer, so you can get away with that.
Not if you're Tim Raines.
You better make it.
Not if you're Tim Raines, unfortunately. Oh, that book isn't closed yet. Not quite yet.
1 more year.
Yeah, we got to start a petition.
No, there'll be at least that, and that's going to be part of the problem. There's going to be at least a half dozen petitions going around. There should be just one.
Yeah, merge them.
I'm not going to do it.
Sorry, Tim.
Okay, part 2 of Ad's question. Corey, no loopholes. Don't even try it. You're getting a tattoo. Where is it? What's it of?
Who are you asking first? Me?
Yeah, your name's Corey.
Right.
You're not Chris Pratt yet.
Star-Lord.
You can call him Star-Lord.
Man. All right. So, yeah, like, honestly, this is pretty much on my bucket list. It's going to get done one way or another within, I don't know, I'd say at least a 2-year time span, I would think. And I'm still kind of on the fence as to what I want, but, oh, God, there's so many possibilities here. It's so hard to choose from, but right off the bat, I think my first one is going to be, and I've talked to you about this, Kyle, because I honestly think we should go and do it together, but I really want the Rebel Alliance symbol, the Phoenix Squadron symbol. Like, I want it all morphed into one. Like, Phoenix Squadron symbol is basically the genesis of the Rebel Alliance, more or less, from what we know. But I also want inside it the Jedi Order symbol, which is, again, quite similar. So you have, like, the Phoenix, the Rebel Squadron, like, all merged into one. I think it'd be awesome. And I'd either have it, oh man, on my arm, chest, or shoulder. I'm not sure. I'm thinking shoulder probably more. I want to say my chest if I get anything, probably like for like children and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy one, right?
Yeah, kind of lay up. But I'd like, dude, if you can go all out, like, there is some amazing artists in Montreal. Just to say, like, if you could book a date with some of them and you have the coin on hand, like, you can.
Well,
get some
I'm happily married, so I don't
done.
need it. I don't need a date. I'm happily married, thank you.
No, but with some of these people, they won't even write you back. Like, I went to high school with a girl that does amazing work, and yeah, she's just booked for like a year solid.
Okay.
Like, she's the girl that does the work behind. You ever seen the posters or the paintings behind Smoke Me Pete?
Oh, those are
Yeah,
awesome.
Cool.
She'll do that on your body. Like, it looks real.
Oh wait, is that her artwork?
Yeah.
That's what we Pete. That's her.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And she's a tattoo artist, and I'm telling you, her tattoo work is even more impressive. It's incredible. And they do a lot of Star Wars stuff too, but like, she's booked again for like forever. Like, it's crazy. But I would like to have something like, I'd like to have an astromech tattoo. I'd like to have something with all the characters, but to do a tattoo justice, you need space on your body. Like, you got to be able to, you can't say like, I just want this little area done with all these characters. Like, you got to be willing to commit to something, you know, for them to work with, like, as a canvas.
Yeah, no question. James, you've got a few. I feel like you either already have more ideas or it's an easier question for you to answer.
Maybe it is. I do have a couple already. And I have my family coat of arms on my back, right in the middle, at the top. I got two younger brothers, and on my youngest brother's 18th birthday, we took him out to the tattoo shop, and we all got the same tattoo, the family crest. So I got that on my back already. And then when I was in college, I was on the ski team. And one night with a couple of the people from the ski team, I'd been wanting my first tattoo for a while, so I got a snowflake tattoo on my leg, which has a couple different meanings to me, but those are the two that I got already. And there's two things I could see probably one or both of them happening at some point, but next time I'm either going to get, and I haven't finished it yet, but I want to do an ambigram of the layup you guys were just talking about with my kids' names. But now that I have 3 kids, I had a beautiful ambigram designed when I had only 2 kids. But now that I got the third one, I got to figure out a way to work his name into the whole design. And I'll probably put that on my chest, like Corey said. But if it's not that, I've sort of always wanted to turn my the family crest I have, like, incorporated into like the hilt of a sword and run a sword down my spine.
Well, you can have Orcrist or Sting.
Sting. Well, I'm not super tall, so Sting might fit better, but. Yeah, probably Orchist.
That's pretty rad.
I don't know, but it's
what
I think it would be cool and fun, but like Corey said, it takes up so much real estate that I don't know that I don't want to ever get sick of my tattoos. And right now, I've had both of them for a while, and I still like them. So
you know what's cool, James?
I just want to be sure that I didn't do something I didn't regret in the future. You know,
I kind of thought the tattoo question was geared towards Star Wars, but if not, like. Children wise, I always thought possibly like either like you said, like the flowers that represent them, or like the month, their gemstones for the month or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That works well too, like symbolically.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's a few designs you could do, like if you're a fantasy fan, I could do some rings stuff with my kids' gemstones built in, etc.
Except everybody's booked.
And Corey smartly did not drop her name, so we won't have to wait any longer than we already do. Don't say her name, Corey. She's already too busy.
Yeah, she's an incredible artist.
I mean, there's lots of artists out there, like you said. And my answer, the reason I don't have any is because I get fed up of things really quickly. And no matter how much I love something at the moment of inception, I know that 3 weeks after I get it, I'll hate it. But if I were to get one, it would probably be Star Wars related, at least to start. And that's the other problem, that I know that once I do start, I probably would have a hard time stopping. So yeah, I would commit a fair amount of space, probably some sort of like shoulder to back wraparound thing. That it would be something Star Wars related. The Falcon would be involved, probably Vader and the Death Star. It would probably be very original trilogy heavy, if not completely original trilogy. But I've never really. Sorry, go ahead.
Full Jar Jar back.
No, I would not do that. It's like James has said. Like I wouldn't want to do something that I would regret. And for me, like I know, I buy a car and after 6 months I hate it. Like I've never had a car where for the duration of my ownership of it, I'm like, this has been an awesome car. At some point, I just want to get rid of it, and I know that would be the same thing with virtually any tattoo I get. Even if I got one of my kids, I'd be like, I got to do something with this thing. I don't like it anymore. So I'd either want to have it changed or added to. I don't know. Maybe when we sit with Carlos in a couple weeks, he can give us some pointers.
Yeah, seriously. We could all go together and get one, Kyle. I've always wanted to do that with you.
Carlos can get that sugar skull. Do it, Carlos.
What's that?
Do it. He was looking at some tattoos, and I don't know if it was his girlfriend or his sister.
Yeah, was it?
Because I'm not too familiar
Those are the
with who's
tattoos,
who on Twitter, but someone was like, "Don't do it," and giving him a hard time. I think it was really cool.
Do you know what they were from, James? Those were pumpkins from the pumpkin.
They were from the
Inferno.
Pumpkin Fest,
Yeah, the
yeah.
Pumpkin Inferno.
Yeah, man.
Sweet. Well, thank you, Ads. There's the answers.
Another terrific question. Ads is bringing it every week. Thanks, dude.
Well, I want to turn that around to Ads. So, Ads, what would you get? Or have you already done it? What part of your body are you tattooing forevermore, and with what?
What's next?
Okay, and the fun doesn't end here, guys. We have Mark on deck here. We'll hear what he has to say, and then after that, that's where we're going to wrap up the show.
Hello, gents. It's Mark at Talk Star Wars. With just over a week to go until Rogue One, I thought I'd give you guys an opportunity to share with us your theories about Rogue One. I'm interested to know if you guys have any far-out theories, predictions for things that you feel will definitely happen in the new movie. Something along the lines of my Shuttle Tydirium prediction, which will either be a massive success or fall flat on its face. Okay, I look forward to hearing what you guys come up with. I'm enjoying the show as always. Long live the Star Wars Commonwealth.
And there goes Mr. Mark from Talk Star Wars. Thank you, sir. And let's get right to it. So, we've been sort of down this road before, and I've written about it, so I'm just going to go out there and say it. So, theories for Rogue One. I've had a couple, and mine's more of a theory within a theory. So I've been banging the drum that Obi-Wan's name will be mentioned in Rogue One, and it'll be one of these uplifting moments at the end of a bittersweet movie. And how I see that playing out is the final few scenes. We see the plans of the Death Star in Bail's possession, who then sends those to Leia. So we will see the conversation from some perspective. And this is where we before we talked about Manabite's piece about that report on Leia being involved or possibly being involved in Rogue One. I think she is, for sure. And I think we see that conversation that where Bail gives her the mission to go get Obi-Wan and bring him to Alderaan. So remember that conversation or the message, the iconic holographic message in A New Hope, where Leia says that her mission to bring him to Alderaan has failed. I think we see that conversation, and I think Obi-Wan's name for sure gets mentioned. So that's one theory, and I guess the other is that this movie, although we've been told from the start there's no Jedi. So don't look forward to any Jedi in this movie. I think this movie is going to teach us more about the Force than any other Star Wars film, except maybe for The Empire Strikes Back, which is going to be kind of an exceptional thing considering there's no Jedi. And something else I thought. So Friday, Amy Ratcliffe, she had posted a picture. It was from I think that very same exhibit from ILM. I'm not quite sure where she was, but she did post a picture, and it was of Chirrut's light bow weapon, and it said that it was it's like a legacy weapon hand built by the Guardians of the Whills. And I said, "Oh Jesus! If we're getting into the Whills in this movie." And we've seen Kyber crystals, and we've seen Chirrut's character, who is all about the Force. I think this movie is going to be all over the nature of the Force. So those are kind of my theories and now I guess expectations. So James, where do you land on Rogue One as far as what you think is going to happen?
Well, unfortunately you touched on a couple of the things I wanted to say, or maybe that's fortunate. I don't have to speak as much. Because I would have said the Leia thing as well. I think we're going to see that scene from a different angle. I don't know. I think maybe you've put that in my head. I don't know where that seed got started, but it's definitely something I could see happening and probably want to see happen. And I want to say too, if you noticed from the last two questions, the accents from our listeners sort of would indicate that we've got some viewers across the pond. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the guys who seem to tolerate us in our Canadian accents over in
What
the UK.
accents, eh? No, actually, our most interactive and vocal, if I can say that, vocal, interactive, supportive, they all come from the UK. So a huge thank you to all you guys. You guys really do step up to the plate for this show.
Yeah, Commonwealth,
Yeah, it's
baby.
awesome.
Commonwealth.
And so yeah, for another prediction, this isn't something you haven't heard before, but I'll hang my hat on seeing the droids. I think if you're going to say Leia's going to be in it, then that goes hand in hand with R2 being in it. But instead of saying that particular scene, the movie could easily end with the droids kind of walking around the corner, about to have that meeting with Leia.
Yeah, I think that's all part of the last couple minutes of the movie. We see the exchange of the plans. I think we see Vader either boarding his Star Destroyer to take off in pursuit, or something to that effect. That the Empire isn't defeated. They're hot on the trail. But I think the last shot of the movie is sort of a nod. I mean, the movie is about the Rogue One team, and specifically about Jyn. So I think the last shots, plural, of the movie will be about Jyn and her fate, whether she's alive or dead. But I think that will be intertwined with the Force. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that she's a Force ghost or anything like that, but given what we read in Catalyst and what we know about her mom being such a devoted Force follower, I think there's something there. I think we see Jin's fate intertwined with the Force somehow. And with that,
I can see that. I can see that.
So, what do you think, Corey? What outlandish theories have you got?
It's a great question, and I hadn't really thought about it all that much prior till this evening and hearing the question. And I sat in my car for a bit there. I was driving around, going to the store, and I listened to the question, and I drove around, and first of all, I want to mention that your theory back in the day, again, that you had written the blog on about, first it was like a double down theory in the sense that, you called Leia being in the show or in the movie because she kind of had to be, and the fact that, well, if that's the case, then Jimmy Smits or Bail Organa should basically be telling her about Obi-Wan as well, which is, that's on my list because of you.
Well, yeah, I had three things that I was banging the drum on that Bail Organa had to be in this movie, and that Leia and Bail's conversation had to be in this movie, and the third one was that I think if that conversation's there, I think Obi-Wan's a part of it. So that was sort of my trifecta.
No, I like that. I'm on the same page as James as well. I think, we'd ran a poll recently about it, and the droids came in a very narrow win to be the cameos in this film, above Leia, above all the Ghost crew. But, this could be the last chance for the droids to kind of make a cameo. I guess, yes, they can make it a cameo in Han Solo as well. But again, are they going to carry that out throughout all the movies? I don't know. But I'm kind of on the same page as that. I can see the droids as well. So the one I kind of came up with on my own was, I had asked them the question several weeks ago, Baze's gun. And now I think we almost had confirmation that Chirrut's bow lightcaster, I believe it was.
The light bow? Yeah,
sure. Light bow. I had put it out there that, Baze is wearing this proton pack on his back. It looks like a pretty amazing gun that he's using, where he can really, it's interesting how he uses this gun. He can kill basically 10 people in 1 second. So I had kind of had the sense that it's Kyber crystal powered to be able to contain that kind of energy. He needs some kind of containment pack in a way. And it looks like he has something like that on his back. And Chirrut as well, I think it's almost confirmation that his staff or whatever it is kyber crystal powered as well. So that was my big one that I'm kind of banking on.
But those two things sort of conflict with each other, don't they?
How do you mean?
Like that, one of the crystals is completely exposed.
Not necessarily.
And the other one needs this huge containment because it's so powerful and dangerous.
It depends. I guess it might depend on who's using it, right?
I suppose.
These kyber crystals are going to kill us, man. I'm telling you. They're going to tie us in knots with these. They're going to cause so many debates and arguments about how they can be used and who uses them in what way. It's yeah. Look out.
I want to add to this list. I think, I don't know if I really think this, but I want to see it so much. We said it a couple of shows ago. I think we see the ghost, like in the background. You might not even see it the first time you see the movie, but someone will tell you, and then the second time you see it, you'll look for it, and you'll just see it like docked in the background.
I would love to see that.
Some loading
I would
bay.
People
love
will
to see
lose
that.
their minds.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen, but it would be amazing.
That would be unbelievable. But yeah, that in a way that sort of dictates where this story is, where the Rebel story goes a little bit.
It depends where you see it docked.
Yeah, I mean, where they are in Rebels now is still like 2 years out, and people sort of expect bad things to happen to this crew.
Oh, you mean if they
Yeah.
make it that far?
Yeah.
So there would be confirmation that they at least get that
the
far.
ship could make it that far,
the
though.
ship could, doesn't.
Without all the characters making it that
That
far.
is absolutely true.
All right, I got two more quick theories here. One being maybe possibly that it would kind of be a downer and a deflator to the movie, so I don't really know, but maybe they get their first wind of a second Death Star in this film, like, okay, we got the first one, like they're all happy, and then like there's a second one, like hidden within the information that they ascertain from the Death Star, like there's a good chance they find out about the second one.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I like that, Corey.
And the big stretch, which I don't think is going to happen, but it's possible. The possible connection as to where Luke possibly will eventually attain his green kyber crystal.
Oof, that's a reach.
Yeah.
That's the long shot. That's the one that, like, the odds of Trump becoming president, you could like get rich off those odds. Like, what are the chances?
Just imagine.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it, guys. Mark, thank you, sir.
Thanks again, Mark.
I love that question. I love what you guys have been doing over at Talk Star Wars recently. And as 2016 starts to draw to a close, I'm very stoked as to what the Commonwealth will do in 2017. And I guess a quick shout out to the other members of the Commonwealth. It just said Talk Star Wars, but another good shout out to Gen X-Wing. And you got to check out their latest episode about the Star Wars Holiday Special. Because every Star Wars fan worth their salt needs to suffer a little bit at the altar of the Holiday Special. You've heard about it.
And everybody needs to watch that show for the amount of work that went into getting that commentary out.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so
we feel your pain, guys. We feel your pain.
Technical snafus in podcasting. Whoever said it, we've certainly lived numerous. I feel like we've had more than our fair share of technical hiccups that have put us in some pretty precarious spots as far as podcasting goes. But yeah, in all seriousness, check out Generation X-Wing's latest on the Star Wars Holiday Special. You'll feel their pain again in more ways than one. And the Skyhoppers put out 2 shows last week. Both were very entertaining. The one that jumps out was if you need to catch up on Rebels, they did the Wind Kathu job and Iron Squadron, if I'm not mistaken. And Rogue Squadron had another very, very funny and energetic show this week. And
Always funny.
Always really funny. No beer this week, I don't think. Not that we can ever get the beer that they sample. I would love to do that. But I don't think they did any beer this week. They did Metallica, though, which is always a plus in my books. And that's it. So check out StarWarsCommonwealth.com for the links to those shows. And head over to iTunes, leave us a review. That would be greatly appreciated. And until Sith Disturbers, you can catch us on Twitter. I'm at Tumbling Saber. Corey is at Chop Rules with a Z. And James is at Tommy Bombadil1. So once again, thank you for your time, and we will catch up with you later this week.
Was I blind to see that you needed me, all of me? Well, you were there for me. I will be there too, watching, listening, every moment, wanting all of you. And I believe I can save you. Just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting. Just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Time goes on and I'm questioning all the things I've seen, crazy things I've seen as I'm watching you. I'm watching you walking away from me. Were you watching me? Was it just a dream? Just